Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come.
Ghana, echoes of the Gold Coast. I remember the first time I stepped off the plane in Accra. The air was thick with warmth, a mix of bustling streets and the distant hum of drums, and there was something in the people's eyes, a spark. You could feel it, like the city itself was alive. As I walked through the crowded streets, it hit me. There's no mere word I could use in describing such a place as this. Each corner held a story, every face a history. The way they greeted me, with wide smiles, and akwaba, I felt like I'd found something ancient, yet incredibly alive. At that moment, I knew Ghana was not just a destination, it was an experience. I felt myself floating, propelled by some inarticulate force. It wasn't just the things that moved me, though. Rather, it was the people, their traditions, the music in the air, stories told under the shade of high trees, and how wonderfully warm the culture itself was. You know that feeling when you are listening to some song, and it just stops you, and then everything else in the world just fades away. That is what occurred when I stepped into Accra for the very first time. It was not because of the energy of the city, but because of the music. I did not need to search for it. The rhythm was buzzing through the streets, around each corner. The Ashanti are well known for their kente weaving traditions, and their cloth is considered among the most beautiful in the world. The beads were another thing. As I walked through the market, I learned that these beads aren't just decoration, they're symbols of status, tribe, and identity. Some beads represent royalty, while others signal a person's age or accomplishments. An example is Akoma beads, which stand for patience and understanding, and are usually worn by elders. The music, the paintings, the textiles, they were expressions of identity, culture, and history. A walk into one of the local markets in Ghana is like a walk into a living, breathing organism, as everything hums with energy, motion, and life. I still remember my visit to Makola Market in Accra, where the pulse of the city seems to be well felt. It wasn't the size that impressed me from the very beginning, but how everything in the space functioned in harmony. Every narrow alley was lined by bright fabric stalls, handmade ornaments, and fresh fruits and vegetables. Odors of grilled fish and spice wafted heavy in the air as bargaining and laughter filled the space. The local markets are not only places for great deals, but also an experience, education, and reminder of the beauty of Ghanaian culture. If there is one thing that unites Ghanaians, then it is food. I soon realized that every meal is more than just fuel. It is an experience and a tradition and celebration of the country's rich cultural heritage. My first real taste of Ghana was in one of those teeming local chop bars where people gathered, sharing meals and stories. Fried plantains and spicy stews wafted through the air, and I found myself quick to pull up a chair alongside locals, ready to dive into the dishes that make Ghana's cuisine one of the most flavorful in West Africa. At Asanka Local, a popular chop bar in Accra, I watched as the chef stirred the rice with such precision, and when I finally took my first bite, I understood why jollof rice is the heart of Ghanaian gatherings. Then there was ground nut soup, a rich, creamy peanut-based soup that had me hooked from the first spoonful. The moment I came out of the hustle and bustle of the cities, the sheer diversity of nature hit me, and I knew that Ghana was one living canvas of ever-changing landscapes. Besides, there is so much beauty in this land, from the wide expanses of savannas in the north to the lush green rainforests in the south. What surprised me most, though, was how much the landscapes of this country spoke about its culture and its history. My most unforgettable trip was visiting Kakum National Park. From all that I had heard about the famous canopy walkway in the park, nothing could really have prepared me for the sense of awe that engulfed me the instant I was perched on the swaying bridges high above the forest floor. With the tall trees around me and the hum of the wildlife, I felt a deep, deep connection to the earth beneath my feet. The park is one of the important keys to biodiversity in Ghana, harbouring uncounted species of birds, butterflies, and I later visited the Volta region, with its extension into Lake Volta, one of the largest artificial lakes in the world. These bodies of water are reasonably still, even mystical. Mount Afaja, Ghana's highest peak, looms long in the distance as part of this dramatic backdrop, looming above a serene lake. I did get a trek up into its slopes and, not surprisingly, just had to let out oohs and ahs at the stunning panorama unfolding before my very eyes. As I went higher and higher, the view gets larger and larger, the patchwork of forests, rivers and villages below. It was like standing at the very crossroads of nature and time, where all fit perfectly. Equally spectacular is the south of Ghana, with the Cape Coast offering a view into both the country's colonial past and its coastal beauty. These beaches are quiet, away from the hustle and bustle of city life, where one can see an endless stretch of soft, golden sand along the coast. I spent a day at Cockrebite Beach, watching in rapt attention as the ocean waves caress the shores rhythmically. The serenity of the place was one which could make me reflect over the deep and sometimes painful history that had built Ghana. And then came the tide of the sea, washing it all off and renewing with its flood. The nature and landscapes, which are just breathtaking, are actually the foundation of everything that makes Ghana so uniquely vibrant. I remember from the day I began to learn about Ghana, if there is one thing that I have easily picked up, it is that the country thrives on its deep-rooted cultural traditions and vibrant festivals. These are the nation's heartbeat, passed down through generations and celebrated with pride. It is not just the big, well-known festivals that stand out, but a sense of community and connection that you feel in every corner of this country, no matter where you are. I had the privilege of witnessing this in Accra during the Homawu Festival, celebrating the harvest, and a testament to the resilience of the Ga people. The festival, which means hooting at hunger, is one where the families come together to share food, sing, and dance in appreciation of a well-earned good harvest. Later, in Kumasi, I experienced the splendour of the Aquasidai Festival as celebrated by the Ashanti. It is one of the spectacular festivals that happen in West Africa, where the Ashanti king or Asantehene is decked in his gold finery and presides over rituals dating back centuries. The whole city seemed to come alive with song, dance, and processions that showcase Ashanti traditions. Each festival I attended was a lesson in history, spirituality, and the deep connection the people of Ghana have to their roots. Cultural traditions are not just relics of the past, but are living, breathing celebrations that find their way into the present and then onto the future. Ghana is a living mosaic of history, culture, and warmth. From the soul-stirring sounds of high life and hip life to the colours of kente and beadwork, Ghana's heart beats through its people and traditions. With wide-ranging savannas to lush forest, nature brings about that feeling of a culture you'd feel connected to in a previous life, which comes to you all at once in a burst so humbling and exhilarating. As we come to a close, Medasipa for sharing this journey.